Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Game Day Podcast, brought to you live by Long Drink, the Finnish legend of 1952. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome inside, as I am joined alongside my co-host, Megan. Megan, it's nice to see you. It's nice to talk to you again. We're live here on the Game Day Podcast after round one of our simulation of the 2026 Stanley Cup playoffs. Talk to me a little bit about, how you're feeling after round one.
Oh, absolutely. It is awesome to be here, and I am still buzzing from round one. We had some wild upsets. Like, who saw the underdog teams pushing through in the East? I mean, the energy in these series is just next level. What about you? What stood out most to you?
Well, we'll get into all of that today. First off, I'm going to take a sip of my long drink.
Yeah, go for it. Take your time.
There we go. So, here we go, Megan. It is the round one of the Stanley Cup simulation series, and for those who didn't attend our pre-playoff prediction show here on the Game Day Podcast, let's run through the first round matchup, should we?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's break them down. So in the East, we had the top Carolina Hurricanes.
Well, no. Let me break it down, and you just kind of go along with me. How does that sound?
Oh, yeah, totally. That sounds great. Go ahead and walk us through the matchups, and I'll jump in with any extra insider analysis as we go.
Perfect. That's what I like to hear. Okay, so Megan, for our first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, we will start in the East. We had the number one seeded Columbus Blue Jackets we had the number 2 seed Blue Jackets taking on number 3 seed in the Washington Capitals. We had the New York Rangers, who finished first in the Metro, taking on Toronto Maple Leafs, who were wild card number 1. The Panthers finished second in the Atlantic. They took on Tampa Bay Lightning in round number 1, who finished third in the Atlantic. Then we have Buffalo finishing first in the Atlantic, taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins, who finished in the second wild card spot. So that's our East first round bracket.
Exactly. And, in the West, we had some shakeups, too.
So we had Dallas finishing 2. We had Colorado finishing 3. They played each other in the first round. Winnipeg, who finished in the top seed of the Central, played Utah, wild card number 2. Vegas played Anaheim. Vegas was number 2 in the Pacific. Anaheim was number 3. And then Seattle, number 1, played against St. Louis, wild card number 1. So that is our first round playoff bracket for our simulation.
Perfect. Yeah, it's going to be a really tight set of matchups, especially that Dallas-Colorado series. It's going to be a battle. I can't wait to see how all these unfold.
Well, I'll tell you how they all unfold. We'll start with the Eastern Conference. Okay?
All right, perfect. Go ahead and take us through how round 1 played out in the East, and I'll chime in with any big takeaways or stats that stand out. I'm ready.
All right. So the Buffalo Sabres, oh my goodness, I just dropped my pen. Give me 1 second here. The Buffalo Sabres played the Pittsburgh Penguins. Buffalo finished first in the Atlantic. The Penguins finished in wild card number 2. The Buffalo Sabres took that series 4-1. Florida and Tampa played each other. Tampa finished third. Florida finished second. Tampa took that series from the Panthers. They won that one 4-1 as well. The New York Rangers and the Toronto Maple Leafs. The New York Rangers finished first in the Metro, and the Leafs finished in the number 1 wildcard spot. It was the Rangers who took that in 7 games. And then to finally round up round number 1 in the Eastern Conference bracket side of things, Columbus, number 2, played Washington, number 3, and Washington won that one in 7 games. So two series finishing in 5, and then the other 2 finishing in 7. What are your takeaways?
Yeah, I mean, that was a roller coaster for sure. Buffalo just looked unstoppable. Their depth really carried them. And Tampa, wow, they were just relentless against Florida. Classic Battle of Florida vibes. The Leafs and Rangers, 7 games, so tight. But the Rangers experience pulled them through. And that Columbus-Washington series, total drama. I mean, 7 games, anything could have gone either way. So I can't wait to see how the East shakes out next.
I agree with you, and we'll stay in the East just for now when we dive into this. I'm also going to bring in Bob Sutherland as well on the show because myself and Bob did half of these games in the East. Bob and I, we did the Buffalo and Pittsburgh series. So, Bob, why don't you come on in here to the podcast room, grab a microphone. There you go, put your headset on there, Bobo, and we'll get you going. Buffalo and Pittsburgh, a 4-1 win for the Buffalo Sabres. And if you're watching live at home, we'll move it over to the Buffalo Sabres kind of schedule so we can kind of see how it all turned out. Let's take a little peep here. It starts to load up. So right here you can see the series. So Buffalo took game 1, 1-0. And that's when we all knew it was going to be a tight series. Then they won in overtime against the Penguins 3-2 to take a 2-0 series lead to head back to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh won game 3. That was a big win. They needed to win that one because going down 3-0, it was tough to come back. But then Buffalo came back and won 3-2, and then a 5-4 overtime victory in game number 5. Bobo, talk a little bit about the series.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, Colin. That series was very good. It was a very, very good series. And just looking at the Sabres here, Alex Tuch, 5 games in, 4 points, just leading the Sabres the way he needs to lead them. He's an unrestricted free agent coming up later in the offseason, but that is a guy who lives and breathes for the Buffalo Sabres. 4 points in 5 games, that's big for the Buffalo Sabres. You know, you got McLeod with 3, Thompson with 3, Darlene with 3. Those are your leadership guys that need to come out and battle. Everyone producing for the Buffalo Sabres, and that's something that you really like to see.
It was a hard-fought series, and I mean, a lot of people did kind of predict Buffalo. I know myself and Megan, we did some pre-playoff picks. I'm just trying to grab the sheet that I wrote those down on, because in our pre-playoff show, we wrote down some playoff predictions. So I've already kind of mentioned the series results here. So Buffalo and Pittsburgh, I picked Pittsburgh to win in 6 games. They did not. Lost in 5. Buffalo was just too dominant. Megan picked Buffalo in 7. Didn't even make it that far, but I mean, I guess she's right with the whole Buffalo Sabres kind of movement with that one. But Bob, I know you weren't on our pregame show before the playoffs, but what do you have to talk about a little bit when it comes to, you know, this series and how does Buffalo stand up to their second round matchup, which, you know, we'll get into in a little bit here, but it will be the Tampa Bay Lightning.
They're fast, they're strong, they have good puck movement, and I really like the way that they play back and forth. You know, their defense to offense, all the guys are contributing, they're standing up for one another, they're being physical, they're battling hard, and that's just something that you can't teach a team. That's something that a team now finally feels comfortable, finally feels ready. They're the number 1 seed. I mean, they're the President Trophy winners. You know, that's gonna get you. That's gonna get you some confidence coming into the playoffs.
Obviously, you know, we have a lot of series to dive into today, so I do appreciate everyone joining us. There will be lots of sponsorship names, but let's keep on rolling here. So the Sabres beat the Penguins. The Penguins, like, you know, Sid, Malkin, Letang, they're out in 5 games. Talk a little bit about, you know, will we see them again? Will we eventually find, you know, the Penguins back in the playoffs when we do this for year number 2? You know, how do we kind of go about looking at the Pittsburgh Penguins?
I mean, it's pretty simple, Colin. The Penguins, They were a wild card team, obviously wild card number 2, not the best position for them. 5 games, Crosby had 4 points, so it's not like they weren't getting production. Crosby had 3 goals, 1 assist in the hockey, like in the series. So it wasn't like they were getting, it wasn't like they were getting not a lot from their top end guys. But here's the guy that I want to take a look at, and that's Stuart Skinner. 5 games, 1 win, 2 losses. He got pulled, 2 overtime losses, save percentage over 900, averaging about 2.4 goals a game. He faced 115 shots in the series. I mean, he let in 12 goals in 5 games. That's a tough one to battle back if you're the Pittsburgh Penguins.
I mean, it is. It is a tough one. I mean, shots against, he faced 127 against him. Just a tough kind of tough situation, right? I mean, you trade for him. He comes over for Edmonton, tries to be your guy. He did get 1 shutout on the series, and that was his 1 win of the series. But just not the best look for Stuart Skinner there, as his Pittsburgh Penguins team really just couldn't find anything. Here's another 2 people that I kind of wanted to mention. No points for these 2, but Rutger McGroarty played 3 of the games here in this series. Obviously being drafted, coming over to the Penguins. 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 points. He was a -1, but he had 1 shot in the series. On the other side, Ben Kindle, the youngster, played all 5 games, no points. He was a -2. He had 7 shots on net. So, acclimating these guys into the lineup, getting them some playoff experience. Yeah, they probably don't have the best numbers, for the Pittsburgh Penguins, but it is what it is, and they'll get there. They'll get there. But just like looking at some of these, point production players, Crosby and Raquel 4 and 3, Gerard had 3, but Letang only with 2 points in 5 games, Balkin only getting 2 points, just not a lot of, big production from the big boys in this series, and that's a tough one. It is. That's a tough look for the Penguins. It's a tough look for Kyle Dubas. It's a tough look for anyone who's kind of diving into this series thinking, "Ooh, I wanted the Penguins to win," or "Ooh, I put money on these guys to win." Something like that, where you kind of look at it and go, "Yeah, probably not the best pick to pick the Penguins there." And it is what it is. The Penguins will learn from their mistakes here this year, and they'll try to bounce back next year when we do one of these again. But it's tough. It's tough, and the guys are not getting any younger. So it's a tough look there for the Pittsburgh Penguins. But that was round number 1 between the Buffalo Sabres and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Buffalo is moving on to the second round, and they will play these gentlemen right here, the Tampa Bay Lightning. So, Bobo, I know you and I did this series earlier, but I'm going to bring in Megan here for this one again. Megan, sorry, Bob and I just had a discussion about the Buffalo and Pittsburgh series. Let's go over, me, you, and Bob. Let's go over the Battle of Florida. Tampa and Florida. Tampa winning in 5 games. They came in as the 3rd seed in the Atlantic. Florida came in as the 2nd seed in the Atlantic. Megan, you and I both had Florida. You had them winning in 6 games. I had them in 7. Obviously, we both suck, and we didn't get it right. Talk to me a little bit about what you saw that series. Who were the players that impressed you the most, and who were the players who unachieved the most in that series?
Yeah, it's kind of a gut punch, right? I mean, honestly, Tampa just had this insane playoff gear. They were so fast, so physical. I think Brandon Hagel was a huge X factor for them. He was everywhere. And, for Florida, Matthew Tkachuk just didn't seem to have that same spark. And Bobrovsky, I mean, he had a couple good games, but he wasn't that game stealer we expected. So, yeah, Tampa just imposed their will, and we completely missed it.
I mean, listen, they're the 2 and 3 seed of the Atlantic Division. The Atlantic was phenomenal all year, and it was a battle. It is what it is. I did forget to mention that the first series breakdown is brought to you by Pizza Hut. No one out pizzas the Hut. So that was the Buffalo and Pittsburgh series that was brought to you by. So back to Florida and Tampa here, Megan. I'm just looking at some of the stats, and for our people back home or who are watching at home can see it on the screen. We're looking at Braden Point, 5 playoff games, 4 points, 2 goals, 2 assists. Bjorkstrand with 3, J.J. Moser with 3, Perry with 3, Holmberg 3, Hagel 3. And then you get down to Kucherov, Hedman, Gord, and the rest of the team with 2 or less points. But through 5 games in the playoffs, you want your big boys producing, and that's what the Tampa Bay Lightning got out of Braden Point. Talk a little about Braden Point as a player, how he had 2 goals, 2 assists in this playoff series, and talk about the key players for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Braden Point is just a machine in these moments, right? He's got that clutch gene. Every time the game tightens up, he steps up. And for Tampa, it's all about that balance. Hagel was a revelation, like we said, but Point is their engine. And then defensively, Victor Hedman always logs those huge minutes. So yeah, I mean, Tampa's big guns stepped up, and they just overwhelmed Florida in that series.
Well, they did, right? And that's the problem with the Panthers. I mean, they played a lot of hockey, defending Stanley Cup champions back-to-back years, but they won't make it a third year. Well, when I flip over to the Panthers, I mean, you kind of mentioned that, Braden Point and the rest of the big guys from Tampa outplayed the Florida Panthers players. But when I'm looking at this, Barkov had 5 points in 5 playoff games. Now that's 1 goal, 4 assists, but that's still points. Matthew Tkachuk had 4 goals in 5 games. He registered 4 points. But then the rest of the team, 2 points for Ekblad, 2 for Forsling, 1 for Bennett, 1 for Kulikov, and then it's nothing. It's literally nothing after that. It was all Barkov and Tkachuk in this first round. It was the problem wasn't that Tampa outplayed the big boys of Florida. I just think that Florida had nothing going for them.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, Barkov and Tkachuk were doing everything they could, but hockey's just not a solo sport. They needed that secondary scoring, and it just wasn't there. So, yeah, Tampa just kind of suffocated them once they had that lead. And it's a tough break because Florida's been such a powerhouse, but sometimes it's just not enough.
Maybe a longer offseason can help out these Florida Panthers. We're just taking a look at Sergei Bobrovsky's numbers through the 5 games that were played here. 5 games, 1 win, 3 losses, 1 overtime loss, with a save percentage over 900 with 915. He averaged about 2.5 goals a game. I mean, he faced 154 shots, but he did let in 13 goals. And that's just not the Sergei Bobrovsky that we know.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's not like he was completely terrible, but he just wasn't that game stealer he's been in past playoffs. I mean, a 915 save percentage is decent, but when you're facing that volume and you need those big clutch saves, he just didn't have it. So I think you're right. Maybe a rest and a recalibration for next season, and hopefully he comes back stronger.
And see, here's my thing, right? Since we are comparing goaltenders, Vasilevsky, all 5 games as well, 4 wins, 1 loss, 0 overtime losses. He had 2 shutouts with a save percentage of .952. So worse than Vasilevsky's, or you know what I mean? A goals against average of 1.1. He was only letting in maybe 1 goal a game, not even 2. He faced 127 shots. He had 6 goals against. So at the end of the day, who was the better goaltender? But you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Vasilevsky was just on another level. Those 2 shutouts in 5 games, a sub 1.2 goals against, that's just next level goalie scene. And, it's tough when you compare it to Bob because Bob's solid, but he just couldn't match that consistency. So I think, Vasilevsky clearly stole the show, and that's why Tampa took it.
Yeah, I would say the big factor of round number 1 for the Battle of Florida does go to Andre Vasilevsky. So that means that we have a absolute heater for round number 2. It's the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Buffalo Sabres getting into round number 2. Megan, how do you want to structure this? Do you want to go through the other 2 series that I've already completed in round number 1 and then do our second round picks, like our second round prediction? Or do you want to get right into the Buffalo and Tampa prediction and then continue on with the rest of the Eastern Conference?
Ooh, good call. I think it might be nice to keep the momentum going with the rest of the East first. So let's run through those other 2 series, Columbus and Washington and Rangers and Leafs, and then we can deep dive into that Tampa-Buffalo matchup. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds good with me. I'm going to bring in Bob Sutherland now. Bob, we also did the New York Rangers and the Toronto Maple Leafs series. Bobo, Rangers in Toronto, we're Toronto fans on this podcast. It was a good series. It went 7 games. But at the end of the day, the New York Rangers, they find a way to get past the first round against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and talk a little bit about what you saw in the series.
Yeah, Colin, it's tough, right? Because I know you're a Leaf fan. I know you're a Leaf guy. I know you really wanted to play it fair, and, you had to simulate the one game, and it is what it is. A couple of games, actually. But, at the end of the day, it's tough, right? You want to cheer for your boys in blue and white, but the guys in blue, white, and red stole the show. I mean, for the viewers at home, taking a look at your screens, Vinny Trocheck, 7 games played, 5 points, Miller with 5, and Fox with 5. Those are the 3 big guys on the Rangers, and they produced in this series. That's why they finished number 1 in the Metro. That's why they get the wild card team in Toronto, who squeaked their way by 1 point past the Penguins. But at the end of the day, you took the Rangers to 7 games. It just couldn't get the job done.
Bobo, I agree with you. And now, Megan, I wanna ask you. I just asked Bob a little bit about the Rangers and Toronto series. You and I, in the pre-playoff prediction podcast, I picked Toronto in 7. You picked New York in 6. Toronto did not win this series. New York won this series in 7 games. So not in 6, but in 7. You were very, very close, just like the Buffalo series. Just the wrong amount of games. Talk a little bit about how the Rangers finished number 1 in the Metro. Leafs finished wild card 1. We're just taking a look here at the stats from the New York Rangers. Vinny Trocheck, 5 points. JT Miller, 5 points. Adam Fox, 5 points. And so on and so on. But those are the big boys from the Rangers producing in 7 games like they should.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Rangers really leaned on that depth scoring. They got it from Trocheck, Miller, and Fox, and they just kept Toronto on their heels. And the Leafs, I mean, they had moments, Matthews with some big plays, Marner, but it was just too inconsistent. And Shesterkin, wow, he was a wall for New York. So, yeah, they earned that win, and Toronto just came up short again.
Yeah, I agree with you, and we'll take a look here at Shesterkin's numbers because he played really, really well. 7 games, 4 wins, 3 losses. No overtime losses for Igor Shesterkin. He did have 1 shutout, save percentage of .926, goals against average of 2.1. He faced 203 shots against, with letting in 15 goals. So those are Shesterkin's numbers through 7 games.
Yeah, and those numbers are just elite. I mean, 200 plus shots faced, and he still holds that .926 save percentage. That's just rock solid, and I think that was the difference. He made the timely saves when the Rangers needed them, and that kept Toronto from really gaining any momentum. So yeah, Shesterkin just stole the show there.
I agree with you, because in Game 7, I mean, the Leafs really did pour everything on against the Rangers. I mean, it didn't help that they went down 3-0, made it 3-1, But Shesterkin just was a wall. Speaking of wall, take a look at Joseph Woll's numbers for the Toronto Maple Leafs. He played all 7 games, 3 wins, 3 losses. He did get pulled for one of the games that the Rangers did win. So he's 3 wins, or sorry, I lied. I'm getting him mixed up with someone else. 3 wins, 3 losses, 1 overtime loss, 0 shutouts with a save percentage of .911. Goals against average of 2.2, possibly 2.3. He faced 181 shots, letting in 16 goals. So those are Joey Wall's numbers.
Yeah, exactly. And, Wall, he was solid, but he just couldn't steal those big moments like Shesterkin did. I mean, he gave Toronto a chance, but they needed more game-stealing saves, especially when they fell behind. So, all credit to Wall for hanging in there, but just not enough against Shesterkin's brilliance.
Yeah. I mean, you're facing against a Vezina goalie kind of caliber over an Igor Shesterkin. And, you being Joseph Woll, you're still trying to figure it out as you go here in the league. So, tough one there for Joseph Woll. We flip over to Auston Matthews. I mean, 8 games played. He had 7 games played, 8 points for Matthews. He had 4 goals, 4 assists. He was the catalyst for the Leafs. Knies with 5 points, Nylander with 5 points. So the big guys did show up for Toronto, 4 for Riley, and then 3 and under, so on for the rest of the team. I mean, Matthews tried his best. The Leafs tried to battle, but at the end of the day, you're facing a team that finished first in the Metro, deserved to get that position of first in the Metro and to get home ice. You go into Madison Square Garden, Game 7, and the Rangers just show up to play and unfortunately take a series from you. You have anything to say about that one, Megan? Megan? Hello? What the heck happened to her? Megan? Let's see. Are you back? Hello?
Hey, yeah, I'm still here. Glad to have you on. If you want to keep the conversation going about the playoffs.
Why is she so quiet? Stand by, chat. Hello?
Hey, I'm still here. Sorry, just catching up. What were you thinking about next? More in the playoffs or something totally different?
Yeah, I'm talking about Auston Matthews. 8 points in 7 playoff games. Knies with 5, Nylander with 5, Riley with 4, and then the rest of the team with 3 and under. So on through the 7 games there against the Rangers.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Matthews has been a force, but it's kind of a double-edged sword, right? Like, it's awesome he's producing, but if the rest of the squad isn't chipping in, they can get shut down pretty quickly by a team like the Rangers. So I'm really curious to see if the depth steps up in round 2.
Yeah, the Rangers move on to round number 2, beating the Maple Leafs in 7 games. The Florida and Tampa breakdown of that series was brought to you by Lexus. Experience amazing. And now the Rangers and Toronto series was brought to you by Acura Precision Crafted Performance. So 3 series covered, Megan. Now we move on to the final series in the East. The winner of this series will play the Rangers in the Eastern Conference semifinal, and that winner is the Washington Capitals. They finished in the 3rd spot. Columbus finished in the 2 spot. Columbus had home ice advantage, but Washington found something late in that series. And this is one that I really wanted to dive in because after we break down all 4 of these series, I'm going to ask you what your favorite series was to watch because I'm really interested to see what it was because I have my own opinions, but this one between the Capitals and the Columbus Blue Jackets, me and Bobo didn't do this series.
Yeah, that's...
Go ahead. Nope, go ahead, Megan.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that Caps Blue Jackets series was such a roller coaster. I mean, Columbus had the edge early, but Washington's late game adjustments were just insane. Ovechkin's leadership, plus some clutch saves from Samsonov, really turned it around. So yeah, I can't wait to get into which series stood out the most for me. I have some strong feelings.
Perfect. That's exactly what I want to hear. So let's take a look. The Capitals and the Columbus Blue Jackets finished their season on April 14th against each other. The Capitals won that game. Then they go into the postseason and they win game 1 2-1. in Columbus. Then they lose to the Jackets 2-0. Then they go back to Washington and lose to the Jackets again 4-3. And then another 4-3 loss at home against the Jackets. So now the Jackets have won 3 straight after dropping game number 1. So now they have a 3-1 series lead, and then Washington found something. Washington just found something in Game 5. 6-1 victory against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Just a dominating performance from the Washington Capitals. Then a 3-1 win in Columbus and another 3-1 win in Game 7. So they go with 3 straight victories to close out this series. It was a roller coaster. It was full of events. It was physical. It was great hockey to watch. It was back and forth. But the Capitals found something in that Game 5. They scored 6 goals against the Columbus Blue Jackets. It was a dominating performance. Talk a little bit about this series, Megan.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was just a total shift in momentum, right? After being down 3-1, the Caps looked like they were done, but something clicked, and it was a total team effort. Ovechkin was leading all the shifts, but you had guys like Backstrom and Tom Wilson just laying the body, and Samsonov was a brick wall. So that Game 5, it was like the switch flicked. And from there, the Caps just refused to lose. I mean, that was absolutely one of the most intense series we've seen so far.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And just to correct Megan, everyone, it wasn't Ilya Samsonov playing. He does not play for the Capitals anymore. It was Logan Thompson playing for the Washington Capitals. Just wanted to correct you there, Megan.
Good catch. Yeah, you're totally right. Logan Thompson was the one in net, and he was just on another level, especially late in that series. So yeah, Thompson's heroics plus that team resilience just made that comeback all the more special.
Absolutely. So it's the Capitals heading to the second round to face the New York Rangers. So that is how the Eastern Conference kind of battled out its way to where we have now. We have 2 Eastern Conference semifinals, that being the Washington Capitals and the New York Rangers against each other. Then we have the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Buffalo Sabres taking on each other in the Eastern Conference semifinal. Now, we will take a short break, myself, Megan, and Bob. We will be back here in just a short amount of time as we continue the Game Day podcast and our Round 1 recap from the 2026 Simulation Playoff Series here on the EA Network and Flow Hockey. Stay tuned. The Western Conference breakdown is next. We got quite a couple of series to go. This Columbus and Washington series breakdown was brought to you by Ram. Guts, Glory, Ram. We will see you back here in just probably 30 seconds.
I love it. Yeah, that was a perfect breakdown. And I can't wait to get into the West. Those series are going to be just as intense. So everyone stay with us, and we'll be right back on the other side for that Western Conference dive.
Do things they never, ever...
Hey, listen, if you did really bad in the first round, maybe you picked a team to make the playoffs at the beginning of the season and then probably jumped off the bandwagon the second they got into the playoffs, me.
Well, then your name wouldn't be Mad Duck.
That's right, Mad Duck. Quack, quack, mofos. The great thing is we got the Spark bracket, and there's prizes. And if you messed up your first round, we're going to let you back in for the second round. You can make a whole bunch of other picks. And, Jesse, get some prizes, too.
Yeah, it'll be a second chance bracket. So you can't win the original bracket, but you can win the second chance bracket. And I know who I'm leaning on, but you'll have to go to the Spark app and see all of the SDPN picks, where you can catch them there and see who actually picked to win the Stanley Cup the second time around.
Your best bet is just pick whatever Maddie picks, I think.
Yeah.
Other thing, live stream schedule.
Yes,
Okay.
we are live tomorrow.
We're live tomorrow.
Which is a rare thing for the SDB because we don't do live shows, but it is a big day in Leafs history because they are either going to get dunked on in a historical fashion by the Boston Bruins or they get like a first overall pick.
Which would be cool.
So we're going to have a live taping of a portion of the SDP, our second episode of the week, that we're going to do 7 to 7:30-ish whenever all of the draft lottery festivities are over. So live tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern on the SDPN YouTube channel. Tune in.
Steve's doing Montreal, Buffalo. I'm doing Colorado, Minnesota, and Vegas, Anaheim. Jesse, the people need to know. is Jesse making a reappearance.
I gotta ask Gritty. We'll see
Wow.
if Gritty will let me watch Philly Flyers games. We'll see.
Okay, let's start the show.
The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
One of the biggest days in Leafland that I could imagine and I could remember. And, we can remember quite a bit. And if you are living under a rock, the big news today is that Corbinian Holzer has retired. Thank you, Stephen Ellis, for that. Yes, he finished it off with the ICEHL. Corbinian Holzer, former Duck, former Nashville Predator, former Toronto Maple Leaf.
Ever tell the story how I saw him outside Grace O'Malley's and he was wearing full lederhosen?
No, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
He's retired. I can tell the story now. I was outside and we recognized each other. Hey, we were both very drunk and hugged each other. It was
Oh,
great.
that's nice.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy. I always
right.
loved Corby.
Now, we're doing the show a little bit later today because Jesse was down at the press conference for the actual news, which is John Shaka, Matt Sundin being introduced to Leafs Nation officially, although we've known about this. Seemingly, it feels like it's been a week that we've, known these guys are going to be the guys. It does
Where's
feel...
Doug Armstrong?
Where's Mike Gillis?
Yeah, fair.
No, February, we all locked in who was going to be the president of hockey operations. Now that job doesn't exist, and Doug Armstrong's still in St. Louis.
That's right. That's right. They didn't even call.
No.
Doug didn't even get a call.
Well, there are some teams who are going to lose executives who also didn't get a call, and I guess we'll get to that.
We can talk about that. So, anyway, long story short, big press conference today. So now, I'm going to defer to Jesse on a lot of these things because he was there. But we're going to run through some of the answers that were given, some of the things that were said, and if you're not on Twitter today because you probably have other things to do, and that's totally cool. There's a lot of it's this or it's that.
Right.
There's a lot of fuck these guys, and then there's a lot of you know what, I'm open to it, and fuck you for not being open to it. And I would just like to say this: I think you should be open to it.
I'm open to it.
I think everybody should be open to it. I think everybody should be open to this being a success. I think you're right to be skeptical. And I think it's fair to be skeptical. And I don't think there's anything wrong with being skeptical. And I've gotten a couple messages, and this is Leaf fans talking to me and saying, well, you guys have already made up your mind and you're already negative and media, whatever. Listen, I think 2 out of the 3 guys who were up on that stand today came off pretty well. And
the other's the CEO.
The other's the CEO. So we can talk about that in a second. But first, let's talk about the fact, Jesse, the Leafs seem to be leaning into the past a little bit. As the press conference is just about to get underway, Darcy Tucker, Wendell Clark, Doug Gilmour all walk out and sit down.
Yes.
And that's notable.
It's a concerted effort by, I assume, Keith Pelly and his little minions. We are going to roll out the Legends Row statues in front of you, the walking versions, and parade them around so that you feel happier about the organization.
Right.
And we're going to hire one of them despite him having no resume.
That's right. Now, they kick off. It was kind of weird because there was like an audience there that wasn't media.
Yeah, so they had it take place at Real Sports.
Okay.
Keith Pelly, if you remember, came into the organization. One of the things he mentioned first was he was going to renovate Real Sports and turn it into a better place to watch sports. And all those renovations are, I think, complete now. So they had everybody come down there.
How did it look?
And it looks good.
I was there recently. It looks completely different.
Yeah,
cool.
it looks like it's a new spot. I think they did a good job.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the upstairs yet, but the upstairs, if anybody's been there, they have a giant screen by the bar, and then there's an upstairs level and a downstairs level. The upstairs level was filled with MLSE employees who got to watch the maybe not MLSE, maybe Maple Leafs. I'm not sure.
They who awkwardly cheered a little bit at times.
Yeah,
that's
so
weird.
There was a lot of round of applause at moments, like, hey, we're going to introduce people, and then there's clapping because somebody starts clapping, and they're like, this is my job. I have to clap along with the people who are my bosses who are starting this clapping. So they'd all clap with that. And then the media were just sitting there to be like, we're not.
When we worked for Keith Pelly at...
That's the STPN fellas. They do a great job over there. They will talk about the NHL entry draft later tonight. I'm going to try to wrap up our podcast before that one starts here within the next hour. So, we're back here at the Game Day Podcast. Megan, we're back from our short break there. Let's do, Megan, before we get over to the West, let's do our pre picks for round number 2 in the Eastern Conference. I got the paper ready. Buffalo, Tampa. Megan, talk about this series. Talk about how these two teams match up. Tampa obviously finishing third in the Atlantic. Buffalo finishing first in the Atlantic. So it's going to be a close matchup if you go from that kind of data. Buffalo winning in 5 games in round number 1. They've had about probably a week to rest. Tampa probably about 5 days, a little bit less than Buffalo. They also win it in 5 games. Tampa's just knocked off the Stanley Cup champions. Buffalo, first time in the playoffs in forever how long. Now they make it to the second round. So talk a little bit about the series. Talk about how these two teams match up. Great in our simulation. And then give me your winner of the series and how many games is it going to take.
Yeah, absolutely. So this one is going to be a total clash of styles, right? Buffalo has been this juggernaut all season, but they're still kind of new to this stage. First playoff round in years. Tampa, on the other hand, they've been battle tested. I mean, just taking down the Stanley Cup champs, that's a massive statement. And even though Buffalo's rested, I think that Tampa's experience is just going to be the difference. So I'm taking Tampa in 6. I think it's going to be a tight series, but I think the Lightning just have that extra gear once it gets really close.
Alrighty, so you're going TBL in 6 games. Alrighty, I am going Tampa in 7. I think the same way you do, Megan. I think that this is going to be an all-time kind of matchup between these two teams. I think that the series is going to play into more of a Tampa-style role than Buffalo. I think Tampa will bring a little bit more physicality. Vasilevsky, I mean, you talked about it, so did I in the first round. He's kicking right now. He is kicking good. Sorry, there we go. He's kicking good right now. The Tampa Bay Lightning are playing good in front of him. I do think Buffalo gives them a fight. I mean, Buffalo's obviously going to have home ice. But I think Tampa gets it done in 7.
Yeah, I totally feel you. I mean, yeah, I love that take. I mean, Buffalo's going to be super dangerous at home, but I just think Tampa's playoff DNA is going to carry them through. And, once it's Game 7, anything can happen, but I feel pretty confident in the Lightning's edge. So, yeah, Tampa in 7, I'm sticking with that.
Alrighty, let's just write that down then.
Yep, got it. I'll jot that down, Tampa in 7 for you, and then I have Tampa in 6.
Correction.
Once we get all the...
Tampa, yeah, oh no, sorry, I thought you said something else. Yes, you're right.
Exactly, yeah, we're all set. Tampa in 7 for you, Tampa in 6 for me. Once we run down the rest of the picks, we'll keep track and see who nails it in the end.
Alrighty, and Bobo, your pick for the Tampa Bay Lightning and the for the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Buffalo Sabres. What do you have for Buffalo and Tampa Bay?
Well, Colin, I mean, this is a tough question, right? Who's going to come out better? Who's going to be the better team at the end of the day? And I don't know, man. I mean, I was going to go Tampa too, but something is telling me to go Buffalo. I don't know why. I don't know, what is kind of making me pick the Sabres, but I'm going to go with the Buffalo Sabres. I'm going to take them in 7 games, and I think they, I think they find a way to win this series.
So, Bobo, you're going Buffalo in 7 games. Alrighty. Okay. Write this down here. Buffalo in 7 games. Okay. All right, Megan, we just grabbed Bob's pick for the first round matchup. He is going to go with the Buffalo Sabres in 7, so that's a bit of an interesting one.
Yeah, that is a bold call from Bob. I mean, Buffalo has that youthful energy, and if they ride the crowd at home, it could really push them. So yeah, this series is going to be a blast. Can't wait to see how it unfolds.
It's going to be an interesting one, let me tell you. Now, we've got our Eastern Conference picks getting ready to rock and roll. Now let's flip over to the Western Conference side of things, where we will dive through a little bit of their series. Let's start with Dallas and Colorado. Dallas finishing second, Colorado finishing third, and the Dallas Stars take care of the Colorado Avalanche in 5 games.
Yeah, that was pretty dominant from Dallas, right? I mean, Colorado just couldn't get a foothold. McKinnon had his moments, but the Stars' depth was just too much. So yeah, that was a really impressive performance by Dallas.
So Casey DeSmith starts game number 1 for the Stars, and everyone's kind of looking and wondering, oh boy, why is DeSmith starting? What is going on with Ottinger? Then it comes out that he's injured. Casey DeSmith goes in there, takes game 1, and then Ottinger comes back and just dominates the rest of the series. Talk a little bit about how Ottinger came back in game 2 and just took the Dallas Stars under his wing and pretty much won them the series.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was such a huge moment, right? After that game 1 shocker, Ottinger came back and just looked like a man of a mission. He was so calm, so composed, made massive saves in game 2, and just carried that momentum. So by the time they hit game 5, he was just unbeatable. Really showed why he's a top-tier goalie.
Yeah, I completely agree with you when you say a top-tier goalie. As well as the Dallas Stars, they played hard. They were the more physical team, in my opinion. Talk to me a little bit about how Colorado just let this series kind of slip out of their reach.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Colorado just couldn't match that physicality. They were trying to go toe-to-toe with Dallas, but the Stars were just more relentless on the forecheck. And then when Colorado tried to open it up, Ottinger just slammed a door. So yeah, Colorado had their moments, but Dallas just outworked them, and it cost them a lot.
I think Dallas kind of neutralized the whole Nathan McKinnon and Nichushkin and all those kind of things. I think Dallas did a really good job. I think their scouts kind of I think they need to get some good credit because they shut those guys down.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the game plan was so spot on. I mean, they really limited McKinnon's space. They kept him to the outside, and Nichushkin just couldn't get any clean looks. So yeah, hats off to the Dallas scouting team. I mean, they really executed that plan to a T.
Yeah, and they move on to round number 2. The Colorado Avalanche unfortunately fall in round number 1. Talk about how their offseason is going to look, and talk to us a little bit about what you would do if you're in the Colorado side of things.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Colorado's got a solid core, but they've got some decisions, right? I think they're going to have to look at their depth, maybe tweak a couple contracts. And if I'm them, I'm really focused on adding a second-line center, just to take some of the load off McKinnon. I mean, they've got young talent, but they need a little more balance. So if I'm in the front office, that's the priority for me this summer.
I think that's a very, very good call. I think that is a very good call. So that series is brought to you by Shopify. Shopify. Make commerce better for everyone. Not quite sure what that read is, but anyway. Let's move on to Winnipeg and Utah, the biggest upset of the Stanley Cup playoffs, especially in round number 1, the Winnipeg Jets being number 1 seed, the Utah Mammoth being wild card number 2 seed, coming into the first round of the playoffs. And like anyone would have predicted, just like you and I definitely did not predict this, the Utah Mammoth, with the only sweep of round number 1, they sweep the Winnipeg Jets, and they're headed off to face Dallas in round number 2.
Yeah, I mean, that was absolutely insane. I don't think anyone saw that coming. Winnipeg was so dominant all year, and Utah just came out of nowhere. I mean, that speed, that forecheck, they completely neutralized Winnipeg's defense. So yeah, that was a massive shocker. And now Utah heading into round 2, it's going to be so fun to see how they match up with Dallas.
So Utah has been off for almost a week and a half after sweeping the Winnipeg Jets. I mean, here's my take on it. Unbelievable work by Utah. I think they were fantastic. I think they played great hockey, but the Winnipeg Jets were not good in this playoff series. Connor Hellebuyck was awful. I think we can both agree on that. And then I think we can also both agree that the Jets just did not get any production from any one of their star players or big guys or anything. I mean, they were physical, but Utah just handled them pretty easily.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, it was almost like Winnipeg just ran out of gas. Hellebuyck never looked comfortable, and that top line just couldn't get going. So, yeah, I mean, Utah deserves all the credit. They were relentless, but Winnipeg just never showed up at their best. So it's going to be really fascinating to see if Utah can keep that momentum against Dallas.
I agree with you on that one. I'm very shocked at the whole just the sweep. I think it's just crazy that Utah swept the Winnipeg Jets. If you're Winnipeg, what are you even thinking right now?
Yeah, I mean, if you're Winnipeg, you're probably just in shock, right? I mean, you have to look at the goaltending situation. Hellebuyck's got to be a big question mark moving forward, and they've got to figure out how to get that top line going again. Scheifele, Connor, all those guys, they just disappeared. So, big offseason for them. This is going to be a big wake-up call.
Okay, so you mentioned Hellebuyck, and I love the fact that you mentioned him and the fact that they need to possibly consider, Hellebuyck. What do you mean by that? If you're the GM of the Winnipeg Jets right now, you moving off Connor Hellebuyck?
Yeah, that's a really tough call, but I think it's on the table. I mean, if his value's still high and you can bring in a younger, more consistent netminder, or at least balance that cap hit, you might have to do it. I mean, it's a big risk, but you can't have your franchise goalie just kind of fading like that after a performance like this. So, yeah, if I'm GM, I'm at least exploring that option.
That is crazy. Wow. Alrighty. I was not expecting you to say that, but now you've started a bunch of controversy in our chats. Now that you have said that you would consider moving off of Connor Hellebuyck if you're the Winnipeg Jets. So expect all that backlash, Megan.
Oh, I know, right? And I get it. Hellebuyck's been a pillar in Winnipeg forever, so I totally understand the backlash. But, sometimes these tough calls, you have to weigh the future. And I'm just saying it's at least a conversation they have to have behind closed doors.
Yeah, let's see if they do that, because you're right. They do have a lot of decisions to make. I'm not saying I wouldn't make those decisions. I'm not saying that I would. I'm not saying that I wouldn't think about it, but yeah, I think that that could definitely be an option. It's tough that Winnipeg has to have those conversations, but it is what it is. So I'm just filling out our stat sheet here, just talking about what we're talking about. Just to I hope everyone heard that. Anyway, we were just talking about the Winnipeg Jets and possibly moving off Connor Hellebuyck. So wherever the stream cut off, if it did cut off, I apologize. The Dallas and Colorado breakdown of their series was brought to you by TELUS. Let's make the future friendly. And now that we've just gone over Winnipeg and Utah, their series is brought to you by Dunkin'. America runs on Dunkin'. All right, let's keep on moving, Megan, shall we?
Yeah, absolutely. So next up, we've got Vegas and Seattle, and I'm really excited.
Vegas and Anaheim.
You're totally right. Vegas and Anaheim. Yeah, that's going to be a huge one. I mean, the Ducks just came off a tight series, and Vegas, they were strong, but Anaheim's speed is going to be a real challenge. So yeah, we'll dive into that next.
Alrighty, I am going to bring in Bobo. Bobo, want to bring you in back to the show. We're talking about Vegas and Anaheim. Vegas finishing second, Anaheim finishing 3. Anaheim takes it in 6 games. Bobo, talk to me a little bit about what you saw in that series. Talk to me about what we can expect from the Anaheim Ducks in round number 2, in your opinion.
Yeah, I think it was a good series. It was back and forth. It was a great battle. Anaheim was just too good for the Vegas Golden Knights. Their speed was good, and I really do think that the coaching played a factor. I think Coach Q was really, really good. I thought the Vegas Golden Knights just got a little bit cocky with themselves. I think that once they realized that they're going to, play a team that's either 3 or wild card, I think they just got a little bit too much cockiness, and it cost them. At the end of the day, it cost them.
Let's bring in Megan here. Megan, we were just talking to Bobo about Anaheim and Vegas. Bobo agrees that Vegas just got a little too buzzed up there after winning a couple of games, and they fall in 6 to the Anaheim Ducks. Talk a little bit about Anaheim, Coach Quenneville, and how he impacts that team as they head to round number 2.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Coach Quenneville is such a difference maker, right? He's got that wealth of playoff experience, and you can see how the Ducks have bought in. They're playing with structure, but also that kind of creative freedom. And, he just knows how to adjust on the fly. So if Anaheim keeps that balance, man, they could really push deep in this thing.
They really could. And I just, I'm starting to wonder, they're doing it IRL. Could they do it in our simulation as well? That would be... what a turn of events that would be if they do it IRL and in our simulation. So they take care of Vegas in 6 games. I think Cutter Gauthier was very, very good all series long. I think Lucas Dostal was good when he needed to be. Talk about who you thought were the key players from Anaheim and who were the disappointing players from Vegas.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Gauthier was such a force. So poised, so dynamic. And then, Dostal, he just made key saves at just the right time. Never let Vegas get into a rhythm. On the flip side, I mean, Vegas, it was a total no-show from their top line. Stone and Eichel just disappeared. And the defense, they couldn't handle Anaheim's speed. So, I mean, Vegas is going to have a lot to figure out in the offseason.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. If you're Vegas, do you move off of Adin Hill and make Carter Hart your starter, or do you still believe in Adin Hill? What do you got kind of going there?
Yeah, that's a really interesting one. I mean, Hill had a great run last year, but he just didn't look like himself this postseason. So if I'm Vegas, I'm definitely making some calls on Carter Hart, just exploring the market. If the price is right, I think you've got to do it. Hart's a proven playoff performer, and Vegas is just in that win-it-all window. So, yeah, I'd at least explore it.
Okay, if you were to explore it, let's just get into some fun stuff here. If you were to explore, signing Carter Hart long term, what contract would you give him if you're the general manager?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, given Hart's age and his upside, I think I'd be looking at something like a 6-year deal, maybe around $6 to $6.5 million a year. That gives you term, but it's not breaking the bank, and it keeps him locked in as that franchise cornerstone. So, yeah, I think that's kind of the sweet spot.
And do you think Carter Hart takes that deal?
I think he probably would, especially if he sees the fit in Vegas and that team's ambition. I mean, if he gets a solid long-term home in a win-now environment, yeah, I think he'd jump at it. So if I'm Vegas, I push hard because that could be a real franchise changer.
Alrighty, now the other thing for Vegas, they go out, they pick up a bunch of players, that including Mitchell Marner from our Toronto Maple Leafs last year. Marner had a decent playoff run for our simulation. What do you expect from Mitchie next year? Do you expect him to take another step? Now that they have Torts behind the bench, does Torts even stay behind the bench? Was he just temporary to see if they could win a Stanley Cup and now they're out first round? How does all that play out in your mind?
Yeah, that's a really interesting dynamic. I mean, I think Torts is a bit of a wild card, right? He definitely gave them a spark, but if I'm Vegas, I'm probably looking for a long-term voice behind the bench. So if Torts steps aside, maybe they bring in a younger coach who can build around Marner. And for Marner, I do expect a step up. I mean, he's still just coming into his prime, so if he stays confident, he could really take over that Vegas top six.
Okay, now do you think Torts is a long-time coach in Vegas? I know you just said they're looking for more of someone that would be there a long time. Do you think Torts is interested in signing a new deal in Vegas, being out first round and probably not exceeding expectations? I mean, I know Vegas finished second in the Pacific when Bruce Cassidy was their coach, but do you think Torts comes back?
Yeah, I actually don't think he stays long term. I mean, Torts thrives on that short term spark, but he's not really a build a culture for years kind of guy. So I think once Vegas realizes, they want a steady hand for a full rebuild or a longer push, they'll probably part ways. So I think Torts moves on and Vegas looks for a fresh voice next season.
Do you think Torts moves on to another NHL hockey team, or do you think this was the last time we're going to see Torts behind a NHL bench?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I mean, Torts has a legacy. He's still got that fire, but I think if a team is looking for a rebuild or a quick fix, he might get a call. That said, I kind of think this might be his last stop. I mean, he's been around forever, so this could be his last NHL chapter.
Alrighty, great work, Megan. This series breakdown from the Vegas Golden Knights and the Anaheim Ducks brought to you by Popeyes. Love that chicken. Our last series that we have to break down through the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs, it's the Seattle Kraken and the St. Louis Blues. And this one, a lot of people kind of slept on this one. I personally wasn't a fan of watching this one. It went 7 games, the only series from the West to go 7. And it's St. Louis who beats the Seattle Kraken in Game 7. In Seattle, and they upset the Kraken, who finished first in the Pacific. They move on to take on Anaheim in the second round. Talk a little bit about this series, Megan, and what do you got for us? Go ahead, Megan.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, this series was just a total grind. The Blues, they really leaned on that playoff experience, and you could see it in Game 7. I mean, Binnington was a wall when he needed to be, and the Blues just had a bit more poise. So Seattle, they had that first place shine all season, but they just couldn't close it out at home. So really hats off to St. Louis.
Binnington and it was Joey Daccord that were the two goaltenders for both teams. Didn't love the way Binnington played in Game 7. That's a bit nerve-wracking against Anaheim. Now, Anaheim has Lucas Dostal. He played an okay round number 1, but he's not the best either. So, interesting matchup for goaltenders there in the second round of the Western Conference. But Joey Daccord and the Kraken, just horrible defending. Couldn't stay out of the box. Couldn't score on the power play. Just one of those years that you finish first place and just not ready for playoff hockey.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the discipline was just brutal. And, once you fall behind in the playoffs, you can't keep taking penalties like that. And then offensively, it was some hit or miss. So, for Seattle, it's a big wake-up call. I think they really need to rethink how they build this team.
I think so too, and they go and above and beyond and exceed expectations this year, and they make it to the playoffs. They get some playoff action for their fans, but at the end of the day, they do not make it past round number 1. This series breakdown is brought to you by LG. Life's good once you go with LG. So those are our first round breakdowns between all the Western Conference teams. Again, we'll take just a short 30-second break. We'll be back with our playoff predictions for round number 2 of the Western Conference series. Just give us a moment here. Megan, do you have anything to say before we head to break?
Yeah, just a quick shout out to everyone listening. I know this first round was a wild ride, and I can't wait to see how these second round matchups unfold. So stick with us, and we'll be back in just a sec.
worked under Keith Pelley. I didn't work for Keith Pelley. I worked for Ed Rogers. But when we worked there, we had those meetings, and we called them the clappers, because you'd have to go in and you just sit there for an hour while they said a bunch of stuff that didn't really apply to you, and you go,
yeah, every 5 minutes or every 10 minutes they introduce something, you got to clap along to it like it's impressive.
That's how they do it.
No matter what was said, because there were a lot of meetings where, hey, concerning thing, and everyone's clapping, and you go to the person next to you, you go, what the fuck?
Yep. But I mean, that's just how it works. And listen, we all worked there a long time, so we kind of know the drill.
They rolled out the red carpet for sure.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'll say this, just to start off the show. They had the picture of Mats and Keith and John Chayka sitting in the dressing room. And no matter how this goes, no matter what happens, it was cool to see Matt Sundin sitting in the Leafs dressing room.
Yeah, absolutely. Like,
Alrighty, boys. Thank you very much. We'll take it from here. The Steve Dangle podcast, the SDPN podcast. Those boys do a great job inside their studio. They will be live breaking down the NHL entry draft tonight. So interesting. Hopefully the Leafs can keep their pick. Let me talk to Megan here. Megan, just going over our second round predictions. I'm just going to refresh everyone that's listening at home or watching at home. I have Tampa in 7 against Buffalo. You have Tampa in 6 against Buffalo. Bob has Buffalo in 7, and James Cybulski has picked Tampa in 5. Wow. Thoughts on that one, Megan?
Yeah, I mean, 5 is bold, right? I mean, if Tampa clicks like they did in round 1, I guess it's possible, but I think it's going to be closer than that. Still, I mean, all of us have Tampa moving on, so it's definitely going to be a great series to watch.
I think so too. It's going to be an interesting series to watch. Let's bring in Bob. Bobo, talk to me a little bit about what you're looking at here in the second round. Let's start with Dallas and Utah. Who do you have winning the series? Talk a little bit about the matchup. What do you got for me?
Well, Dallas comes in as the number 2 spot in the Central. Obviously, with Winnipeg getting out, Dallas is the big gun now, and Utah the wild card number 2. Dallas is going to be a different breed than Winnipeg. Dallas isn't as physical as the Jets, but they're way more skilled, and they'll come at you. They'll be tenacious. They will find ways to get around that Utah defense, and I think Robertson's going to have a big series. I think Wyatt Johnson's going to tear up the younger core of the Utah Mammoth. I don't think it's going to be a full-on blowout for the Dallas Stars, but I think Dallas takes this in 6 games, Colin. I think Dallas gets the job done. They're going to have home ice. I think they get this series done in 6 games.
Alrighty, well, thanks, Bob. Megan just spoke to Bob about the Dallas Stars and the Utah Mammoth pre-playoff prediction of round number 2. He picks Dallas in 6. Megan, talk a little bit about this matchup. Dallas coming in as the 2 seed, Utah coming in as the 2nd wildcard seed, Utah coming off of a sweep, Dallas coming off of a 5-game series victory against the Colorado Avalanche. So who do you have winning this second round matchup? Talk a little bit about this matchup comparing the Dallas Stars to the Utah Mammoth.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this one is going to be so interesting. Dallas is just so deep, right? I mean, they have that balance of top line scoring, but also defensive structure. Utah, though, they're coming off that sweep, and you can see that confidence. I still give the edge to Dallas, but I think Utah pushes them hard. So I'm going Dallas in 6 as well, but it's going to be really tight.
Dallas in 6 as well. I'm just texting James. We'll see what James Cybulski has to pick here in just a short minute. I love Utah. I think they're a good hockey team. I love the fact that they're in here and the young talent. But I think the Dallas Stars are just going to be too much for the Mammoth, and I think that is why I am also going with the Dallas Stars in 6 games. I think that's a safe bet. Could Utah push them to the brink, kind of like what you said? Absolutely. I think they could. This series could definitely go 7, and that would be awesome if it did. There's no way Dallas pulls off a sweep, and I don't think Utah could do the sweep again on the upset. I do think this is the Dallas Stars' year to make it to the Western Conference Final yet again. Just looking at my phone here, James Cybulski. Megan, what do you think James picked for Dallas and Utah? Just take a guess. I know you know him well. Just take a guess and see how many games he picked, and tell me who he picked and how many games. Just take a guess.
Ooh, good question. I think James is going to go with Dallas as well, but I bet he's picking them in 7. He tends to lean towards the longer, grittier series, especially when the underdog is hot. So I'm going to say Dallas in 7 from him. Let's see if I'm right.
Well, Megan, today is your lucky day because you are right. James did pick Dallas in 7 games. He thinks Utah has a chance to push the Stars to the break. To the breaking point. That's what his text message said to me. So he believes in the Mammoth. We all do believe in the Mammoth, but I think Dallas just might be a little too fired up for this second round. Now let's move to the other second round matchup here in the Western Conference for the round number 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs. It'll be the Anaheim Ducks and the St. Louis Blues. So pretty crazy stuff. Oh my goodness! Sorry, we didn't even go over the New York and Washington series. Oh my goodness, Megan, talk a little bit about the New York Rangers and the Washington Capitals series over on the Eastern Conference. Rangers still that number 1 seed in the Metro. Well, they're playing Washington, who finished number 3 in the Metro in round number 2. Washington comes off of a 7-game victory against the Columbus Blue Jackets, and the Rangers took care of the Toronto Maple Leafs in 7 games in their first round. Who do you have winning this series, and what can we expect of these two teams?
Yeah, this is going to be a classic, right? I mean, both teams came through that brutal first round, but the Rangers, I think, have a slight edge. Just more balance, more firepower up front. Washington, though, you can't sleep on them. Ovechkin still has that big game magic, and Samsonov is riding that confidence from the first round.
Thompson. So, who do you pick?
Good catch. Yeah, so I was just about to say, I think I lean Rangers in 7 as well. I know it's going to be a grind, but I just feel like the Rangers' depth will win out. But yeah, definitely going to be a nail-biter.
So you think Rangers in 7.
Bobo, what do you think, mister?
Bobo, what do you think, mister?
Bobo, here, I'm going to pick the Rangers. I think the Rangers are going to have a good push. I think the Capitals have spent a lot of their energy against the Jackets. I think the Rangers take care of the Capitals in 6 games.
Alrighty. Well, Bobo thinks the Rangers are going to take care of the Capitals in 6 games. I am going with New York as well, and I think this one is going 7 games as well. You know me. I love the long series. I picked about 3 out of the 4 series in round number 1 to go 7. Well, I'm picking both of these round 2 matchups going to 7. I could see both of these series going to 7. And sure enough, James Cybulski, trying to be different than everyone else, he is going the Capitals in 7 games. So we have a couple of bold guesses there. Myself went with Tampa in 7. Megan went with Tampa in 6. Bobo went with Buffalo in 7. James went with Tampa in 5. For the New York series, I went New York in 7. Megan went New York in 7. Bobo goes with New York in 6. And it's James Cybulski, who always has to be different, goes with Washington in 7 for the round number 2 of the Eastern Conference side of our bracket.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's going to be such a fun set of games to watch, especially with all these long series picks. So once round 2 kicks off, we'll see who's got the edge and which bold predictions pay off.
I think one of us will pay off. So now the final series of round number 2 that we have to do our pre-picks before we wrap up the show. Anaheim, St. Louis. Just a wild one. Anaheim finishing in the 3 slot. St. Louis finishing in the wild card spot. Anaheim took care of Vegas with a big upset in 6 games. And it's the St. Louis Blues upsetting the Kraken in 7. Megan, who do you have winning this series?
Ooh, this one is really tough, but I'm going to have to give the slight edge to Anaheim. I just think their speed and offensive creativity is going to be a little too much for St. Louis, even though the Blues have that clutch factor. So I'm going Anaheim in 6. Close, but just a bit too much speed from the Ducks.
Anaheim in 6. Okay, I don't mind that one bit. James Savolsky, what do you think he picked for that series, Megan? What do you think?
Ooh, James, I think he's going to go with St. Louis in 7. He loves the grittier, tougher teams in these close matchups, and I think he's going to ride Binnington in that Blues core. So, yeah, I bet he picks them in 7.
Yeah, well, you're 2 for 2 with the James Savolsky picks. He went with St. Louis in 7 games. I'm going to go with Anaheim in 5. I think the Ducks... I know that's a bold pick. I know I'm a game 7 type of person, picking those series to go game 7. But I think the Ducks shock us all, and I'm riding with the flock. I think the Ducks take it in 5 games over the St. Louis Blues. Bobo, what do you have?
Well, I love the way Anaheim plays. I love the way they're producing. I love the way their offense is cooking. But watching that, just watching that series between the Blues and the Kraken, I don't know. I think the Blues are kind of cooking with gasoline here, and I think that the Blues are going to find a way to take series number 2 in this round number 2. I'm going with the Blues in 7 as well. I think they find a way to win this series. I think they find a way to battle and take this to 7 games, and I really do think that they have an opportunity to win and head to the Western Conference Final.
Okay, Megan had to sign off, so we thank Megan for her joining us here at the Game Day Podcast. Bobo, really appreciate you being here, mister. Let's just go over a recap. So in the East, I have Tampa in 7, New York in 7. Megan has Tampa in 6, New York in 7. Bobo has Buffalo in 7, New York in 6. James has Tampa in 5, Washington in 7. Over to the Western Conference round number 2 matchups. I have Dallas in 6, Anaheim in 5. Megan has Dallas in 6, Anaheim in 6. Bobo's got Dallas in 6, St. Louis in 7. And to finish it off, James has Dallas in 7 and St. Louis in 7. So a lot of series going the distance for these two teams. As we now, if you're watching live, round 1 is complete, and we are ready to go for round number 2. Looks like it's starting on the 3rd of May. Let's see if there's a game starting on the 2nd of May. 3rd. So the other two are either going to be the 4th. That's the 3rd. So St. Louis and Anaheim are on the 3rd. Dallas is on the 3rd. So then Washington is also on the 3rd. Buffalo? Why are all the games on the 3rd? Are all the games the same day? Okay, Buffalo's schedule starts on the 3rd. Anaheim starts on the 3rd. Oh my god, they're all... Okay. Alright, well, let's see. Well, we'll break it up into 2 nights here on the network. Let's go with Let's see. Let's do Buffalo and Tampa, us. New York and Washington, James. Then we'll go Dallas, Utah, us. And Anaheim, St. Louis, James. Sound good? Yeah? Sounds good. So we'll do Buffalo, Tampa. One night. And then we'll do the Ducks. Oh my god, I just fucked it. Give me 1 second, chat. Then we'll do the Ducks. The Blues. Boom. And then on the other side, for the other night, we'll do Stars. So we're the late game. Dallas v. Utah. That'll be nice. I didn't get to do Utah's first round. So that'll be good. And then we'll have New York and Washington. And James didn't get to do... Oh my god, I'm fucking this up. I'll do it offline. But anyway, myself and Bob will be doing the Buffalo and Tampa series and the Dallas and Utah series. James and Cheryl will be doing Anaheim, St. Louis, and the Rangers and Washington. Thanks everyone for watching the wrap-up show of round number 1. Round number 2 starts tomorrow here on the EA Network. Well, actually, you know what? Fuck it. It starts tonight on the EA Network. And if it doesn't start tonight, it'll start tomorrow. But Buffalo and Tampa to kick round number 2 off when we come back. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And it'll be interesting to see who wins round number 2. Thanks for watching the Game Day podcast. Thanks to all of our sponsors and everyone else who watched the show. We appreciate every one of you. And go and enjoy a long drink today. The Finnish legend of 1952. Thank you, everyone. See you later.